Hey guys, so right across from this partition garden is this center bed garden that has the PG hydrangea, a massive old school hydrangea. It's a hydrangea paniculata, and it was here when I moved at the property about 6 years ago. On the other side, and one thing to note about the center bed, ignore the mess, guys. I'm a gardener and I'm working. Okay. Yeah, so that's a lot of weeds I've been cleaning up. It's a tarp that I was going to use to put the weeds in. It rained heavily and interrupted my work and blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just what gardening is about. This area right here, I just plugged in some heirloom roses. I have 4 celestial nights in the back and 3 parfuma, what is that, romance, beautiful roses. Okay. And this whole area is a drainage area, so that's why you have a lot of aggressive moisture loving weeds, and which is why I decided to put this Joe Pye weed, which is only supposed to be about 4 or 5 feet, and it's clearly 6 to 8 feet tall. But anyway, I'm not here to complain. I'm just letting you guys know that I am going to reclaim that space that the Joe Pye weed is in, and I'm getting ready to cut it down. I'm going to relocate it over to that garden bed that I showed you guys last week. Check out how massive this bloom head is. Here's my hand for reference. Yeah, so Joe Pye weeds, the flowers are massive. Think of hydrangeas on steroids. And then all of these seeds, they dry up. And look at how they just spread. So that will seed everywhere. So that's a weeding nightmare the next year. But I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It is a pollinator magnet. And it has a lot of architectural interest, as you can see. So most years I'd leave this up. I wouldn't cut it down throughout the entire winter until we get a really heavy snowfall. And I even like how the snow looks topped on the flowers. It looks really nice. It's a really nice architectural distinguishing trait. All right, so now I've got it cut down to a manageable height. I'm gonna go in and cut it down again by a half, just so that it's easy to transfer over to the new location. I guess I can show this to you guys. Hope I'm not boring you too much about Joe Pye weed. A lot of these stems are quite hollow. As you can see, right into the middle of the stems. They're very hollow. And a good thing to note for insects, they like to overwinter in these stems. So many benefits. All right, guys, so now that I have cut this down to a manageable height so that I can transfer it to its new space, let's take a look at this area. Well, at least that's what I do. And kind of size up the area, see how much work I'll have to put in before sunsets, because it is the fall season right now. So sunsets are around, I want to say 6:20 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, let's do that real quick. All right, excuse the tripod. So here's an aerial view of the cut down Joe Pye weed. So I have roughly, and I want to say that this has really stayed contained. It doesn't seem to spread too aggressively by runners. So maybe it spreads more so by seed. So I started off with roughly 7 to 9 plants here. And honestly, it's still roughly 7 to 9 plants. Maybe I can divide a few of them. And you also see clumps of peonies. All right, I've got one there, one right there. A bunch of weeds. There's a few peonies under here. And as you can tell, around this time of the season, they start developing powdery mildew. See that? I really wanted at least 1 or 2 plants to keep healthy foliage long enough for me to see the fall color, because peonies supposedly display very, very delightful fall color. But I think as I'm sizing up this location, I'm gonna have to cut the foliage down on these peonies as well. Eventually, what I plan on putting here in place of the Joe Pye weed will be 3 Buff Beauty shrub roses. Right here I have a variegated cone box that the undercarriage, it was pretty much Boomer, my dog, pretty much his little lavatory. So that's what we're dealing with here. But eventually I'm gonna push a lot of these peonies closer to the edge of this bed, and right on the end I plan on putting in a bunch of catmint. All right, guys, as you can see, it is sunset. So we've been working here in this area for, I want to say about an hour and a half, close to 2 hours. So let me turn this camera around, show you guys where I'm at and the expectations. That area over here of the bed is very bare, and which is a good thing, because this peony right here, she got a beautiful caterpillar. I don't want to kill it or hurt it. I probably disturbed its little habitat. See, that's why Joe Pye weed and other similar perennials are really beneficial to insects, because this guy clearly started to overwinter in this mound of this peony very early. Okay, I mean, very early in the fall. There's another one right there. So clearly I'm disturbing their habitat. But the good thing is it's not too late, because once I transfer this patch of Joe Pye weed to its new home, they can all get reestablished over there, hopefully, right? So over here is where I'm going to put most of my peonies. I've got a big one right there, and it has some eyes, as you can see, those little red dots. Those are eyes. So those eyes indicate where next year's growth will sprout from. So I gotta continue on with that type of brick material. I'm gonna remove this, and this front area is gonna be all catmint to contrast with this variegated box. Whew, it's already past sunset. Time is flying. So I went ahead and dug 4 holes to transplant those 4 peonies. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, I think there's 5. Oh man, yeah, there's one right here too. All right, garden friends, it's the following evening. I still have to go ahead and dig up and transplant all of the Joe Pye weed and plant the 2 other buff beauties. I planted one late last night. It was so dark, it didn't make sense to record it. All right, so this buff beauty rose gets to be over 5 feet wide and 5 feet tall, so it's a pretty big shrub. So I'm making sure to give it plenty of space. Here's a clump. Let's get another clump. You know, I have a feeling that this Joe Pye weed, it's one of those perennials that it gets more invigorated after you divide and split them. I really believe that this thing, it's like a monster. Look at the size of this clump. I mean, I have at least 4 plants in here, but I'm just gonna plant the whole mass. So what I'm gonna do is get my power saw and just carve this out into 4 pieces. So I want to carve out this little piece here. Like butter. Perfect. There we go. Nice chunk. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I've got an area cleared for my rose. I'm gonna plant it, and all the divisions that I currently have, I'm gonna go plant them, and I can deal with that last patch another time, right? Know your limits. Adding some new perennials to the front, in addition to the catmint. Threw in some sedum, autumn joy, which kind of repeats just like this side over here that has the autumn joy. And the center of the bed has autumn joy. So it's good. It's good when designing a bed to have repetition. And across the bed, I've lined up 3 right there to mirror 3 that's across the way in this from this drain area. All right, guys, I've got neighborhood noise all around me, which is what really makes me hesitant in recording videos. But anyway, I'm still plugging away at this weird shaped bed over here by the drain. We've got several issues against us here. The late evening hours, you've got sunset right now, the lighting's a little off, blah blah blah. Just letting you guys know. All right, so right now I'm just trying to fill in the gaps. All right, here's the border right here. You guys saw me install that several years ago. I've just installed this Taylor juniper about 3 or 4 days ago, and I've got this huge gap right here. Over here, we're looking at a grouping of 3 spirea. Okay, it needs to be cut back, guys. I still have the tag as to what it is. I think it's called a Shinobi spirea. They have beautiful rusty pink looking blooms, something almost like this sedum. So it's a good staple. It just needs to be pruned back. So again, we're trying to fill the gaps. This right here, I'm thinking, should I put something spiky? And by that, I mean, should I put liatris? Should I put iris? Bearded iris. Let's change the vantage point here. So I can either put a bearded iris, which has kind of that rusty purple tone to it, or liatris. I think I have 5 white liatris right here in this raised bed next to the partition garden. And I've got more noise. I've got rocket jets. Yeah, the noise is crazy. So I've got some white liatris. Of course, it's spent, right? At this time of the year. There's a whole bunch of seed heads on them. I've got a total of 4 of those. And they get to be roughly 4 feet, so that's an option. Here, the bearded iris right here. Still have their leaves. They look pretty good. So I think they'll survive a transplant. Or do I go with something more mounded? Like a rose. Right here, I'm clearing out this bed. It is filled with popcorn drift. What I have over here? Some poison ivy too. Yeah, there's another popcorn drift. I gotta get all of this poison ivy out of here, man. This right here is Ringo All-Star. That's a nice looking bloom. Decent size. Decent size rose. I'll just cut it back. Here's another Ringo All-Star. But you can tell it needs to be moved anyway, because it is totally reaching out for the sun. So clearly I've got several options, right? And I can go with forms. I've got 3 plants with tall, spiky forms. One is the bearded iris, which I just showed you, which has a burgundy type of color to the flower. I can also go with the liatris, which it's white, but it also has that tall, slender, spiky form to it. Sorry guys, we've got a lot of noise around me, and it's very frustrating to try and record. So those are the 3 tall and spiky forms that I can put there, different colors. And thirdly, I can go with these carpet roses, the Ringo Star or the popcorn drift. The Ringo Star has a nice color tone to it. Either will match or kind of blend with the color palette I have in that bed, which are purples. Let's just go over there. Which are purples with the catmint colors. This variegated box, a little more chartreuse. The white probably wouldn't do. Well, white's kind of a neutral color. So the whites of the liatris, the only issue is how long does that color last? That's really the concern. So the roses will have color all season long. And the popcorn drift is in the same color family as the Buff Beauty. The Ringo Star has a good contrast, I'd assume, with the Buff Beauty. And the Ringo Star gets to be roughly 2 by 2. So that'll fit in here really nice. Using my feet for reference. 1 foot, 2 feet. And this way, 1 foot, 2 feet. And we already know this Buff Beauty gets to be 5-6 feet tall. So this will be towering in a couple of seasons. So those are some of the factors I have to ponder as to what I'm going to put in that spot. Other gaps or other areas I have is one gap behind this Taylor juniper. So right here behind this Taylor juniper. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and put in two Ringo stars. All right, I was really interested. There goes some more noise. I was really interested in throwing in some serious contrast with the spiky form of the iris, or maybe even the foxglove, but that might look a little too haywire and wild. This area clearly has more moundy shaped perennials, with the exception of the Taylor juniper, which is going to be an accent. So I think I've made my decision. I just had to kind of talk my way through it. All right, guys, so I ended up making a rough edge with my half moon edger. Now I'm seriously just doing this as I go along, just to make sure I plant the rose in its correct position in the bed. I'm so glad I kept the tags on most of these little landscape roses here. So this right here is actually an oh so easy Italian ice. I'll throw a picture up on the screen as to how that looks. I'm gonna put that on the other side of the drain near the path because it looks good. But before I move them, I'm actually gonna go ahead and prune it back, get that done real quick. So glad I left the tags on these little roses. All right, so we put the oh so easy Italian ice on the front of the border. Here, I know it's getting dark, guys, so kind of bear with me. All of this takes time. So that's the oh so easy Italian ice. Let's look at the specs real quick. I'm so glad I kept these tags. So this gets to be 1.5 feet to 2.5 feet tall and wide. So a nice sizable 2-foot mound of those type of coral colored blooms. And back here here's where I put the Ringo All-Star. These are both proven winners. This one gets 2.5 to 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. So it's gonna be a nice bulky look back here. As you guys can see, I cut them back so that they go into the winter without having to worry too much about dieback. And there goes my edge right here. So this will fill in really nicely next year. All right, guys, we're at the finish line. Mulch makes everything look so much better. It's getting kind of dark, and I really want to button up that last corner right there. So clearly it makes no sense for me to record once I'm done because it's going to be too dark. It's probably 6 o'clock right now, so sunsets in the next 15 minutes. kitting around. Plugged in another kitten around right here.